We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on Mike McDaniel and how he has transformed the Miami Dolphins offense. He's unlocked Tua Tagovailoa and is maximizing Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle's ability. He's shown great game planning and understands how to beat specific defenses. The running game concepts are very similar to San Francisco, but he's implemented some different things in the passing game that is perfect for the skill set of Tua and the rest of the offense. The offense runs a lot of similar plays, but there are a bunch of variations with different alignments and use of motion. I love how McDaniel has used motion, and it has made the offense extremely unpredictable, and with their talent, the offense has been unstoppable as of late. If you've watched any of my breakdowns this year, you know this is the Dolphins' favorite concept. They have so many different variations of it, and the Dolphins ran this last year with a lot of success as well, and I think McDaniel saw that on the film and decided to, make his own little variations of it, and he's done it in so many different ways, sometimes the motion across, but usually this is like the most basic version of it. This off tight end, it's Ingold in this position, coming on the beneath route, getting him out in the flat. You have the number 2 working the wheel route, and then number 1 either running the slant, the glance, maybe curl it down, get into the seam, but basically he's the one taking to the inside. And then you have the RPO. Tua could hand it off, and he has just enough to hold this D end. This time he holds it, and Tua works really good off script. But it's just this flat route is pretty much always open and always gets you at least a few yards if Tua doesn't see, the slant or the wheel open. But Tua's taking advantage of this all year. It's worked to perfection. And when you're running this multiple times every game and it's still working, that's just great play calling. And it just fits these players' play styles so well. It fits Tyreek's perfectly, Tua, Waddle, and then it gets Ingold involved in the passing game, and he's one of the better, receiving fullbacks in the NFL, and it just has worked really well. This is just one of the variations. A lot of the times you'll see the motion across, getting for the wheel. Sometimes it will be the off tight end. Sometimes he'll be out in a little more split. We'll get into those a little bit later in the video, but just love all the different little variations that he has to his offense. Here's another variation type look of the RPO that they've ran all year with the quintuple. I think people have been calling it the option. But this time it's just a straight run, but they make it look like it's going to be the RPO because, Sherfield is never looking from the inside. Ingold this time aligned in the backfield instead of going to the flat. He's just blocking this untouched D end. And when, you make it look, he makes everything look the same, but then does something slightly different. This time hands it off and just creates this big hole for Jeff Wilson. Love the way he's used Ingold. Look, they leave Myles Garrett unblocked. They make it look like he's looking out in the RPO. Tua is selling this. It freezes Garrett, and then Ingold takes him out, and then it creates an easy matchup to the inside. Look at the effect of the linebackers. They're frozen in place. He's reading Tua and the fullback coming back across to uncut. Look at 51 right here. He's taken out of the play. His eyes are all caught up in the backfield. This is what happens when you just have great play calling, all the RPOs being worked, all the play action. It just has so much effect on the second level defenders. And then Jeff Wilson just has to read off this one block, freeze, and then stick, burst into the hole. This offense, with how great the passing game has been, how great Tua has been with the RPO, the play action, the running game is thriving even more. And Mike McDaniel is just getting into his bag with all the different concepts that he can use. I love this play later in the game after all those plays have worked successfully. You've shown on film this type of motion. Looks like it might be similar to that RPO concept that I've been showing, but it has different variations. Again, this time it's not even RPO, it's a play action. And then instead of Hill coming on the motion and running the wheel route, they break that off and he breaks back to the inside. This off tight end, instead of coming on the beneath, he comes to block back on this, and it's just straight play action. And then look how much effect when the great running game starts taking over, the Browns really have to focus on it. And when you have this horizontal pull based on, the mesh point here, look at the effect of the whole defense. It just pulls everyone over here. 7 Browns defender taken out of the play, and then gives Gesicki an easy one-on-one working to the other side of the field, and just perfectly thrown by Tua. Takes it out of this. It creates just one-on-one matchups. When one thing's working, like the running game was working in this game, it just opens up the passing game, and the passing game has been working all season for the Dolphins. And you just use these motions to make it look like you're running the play that's been successful all season, and you mix it up because usually, Hill would probably be working to the wheel, Waddle would probably be glancing to the inside, but they mix it up, run the deep go from Waddle. Hill breaks it back to the inside after selling the wheel route. It's just so effective how they use these receivers in so many different situations. And when you get Hill motioning like that, you have no chance of getting him out the line of scrimmage, and he builds momentum. It's pretty much impossible to cover him, and you just get free yards. So great calling from Mike McDaniel. The linebackers so affected by motion all this game. right after, you get that big play, you get him going back, working like a split zone type of look, and the linebackers just get frozen in their place. You give Mostert this big a hole, he's going to accelerate through this. Just look at the effect having this motion has on 54, 44. They're completely frozen out of this play. They both float to the left, and this gives, the opportunity for the left guard here to climb. Gives him a great angle to get to number 33, and it's just a one-on-one at this point. He reads the block. Mostert goes for a long play. So the motions having a great effect on defenses. The Browns linebackers were put in hell in this game, honestly. They had no idea what was going on, and then the Dolphins backs made them pay. Didn't even need to have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle going off in this one. Just great play calling from Mike McDaniel. Here's the RPO again, but this time angled beneath route coming out of the backfield as a split look. They have Cedric Wilson motioning across for the wheel, and then it affects those players so much. He gets the free little glance route to Sherfield, and Sherfield makes a big play. But Tua just reading this flat defender, and once he widens just enough, he knows these linebackers are being pulled down. He sees this space. It just gives him so many options, and Tua's processing has been so good this year. And he's excelled at this RPO game since college, and he just knows how to maximize his quarterback. He's really helped Tua take that next step, and showing that belief in him has really, really helped this team. And I just love this concept that they've been running all year, because Tua ran it really well last year too, and he's just taken it to a whole nother level. Typical RPO again, a much different look. The motion working here, getting Sherfield on the wheel, but the seam route is from Gesicki, and it's also got a little bit of a move element to it. RPO, get Tua on the move instead of just quickly throwing this. You get him on the move. You have the receiver who is aligned tight, almost like an off-ball tight end. You sneak him back underneath, and these are taken away in man-to-man, and it just puts, a free little dump off to Cedric Wilson with technically an edge defender, D lineman, having to cover him, and Tua gets on the move, hits him in stride. Just so many different variations, so many different looks out of this that defenses just can't keep up. The most important play in the Miami Dolphins offense, again, this time you get Gesicki being the wheel route defender on the RPO. Obviously, this one turns into a fumble, but you get to see what it really looks like when the glance is wide open, because the linebackers get down quickly. Because a lot of times linebackers are playing this now because they've thrown this a lot. Tua reads this linebacker, hard commit down, sees all this space, throws to it. He still has, the beneath to Cedric, which probably would have picked up a few yards. Gesicki's route might have been dead here, but you get all this space created from all the different looks with the motion out here. You widen this defender. The RPO, the run action here, bites the linebacker to the inside, and you get all this space. Obviously, it turns into a fumble, but that doesn't change the great play design and all the different variations that McDaniel's come up with. Another version of the RPO. This is one of the only times they've thrown the wheel this year. They've thrown it a few times, but compared to the slant, the flat, and just handing it off, this is probably the least thrown one. But a little variation of it. You get Tyreek Hill motioning hard. He's lined up in the look pre-snap, but then motions hard across. Then comes back to it. You get him working on the wheel, and he just sees, this creates a natural pick. You get a one-on-one with him with an edge defender. Tua's going to take that all day. Pretty nice placed ball there. He probably wasn't expecting to have all that space. Probably could have put it, maybe to get some more yards, but gives a nice completion on the back shoulder. Just another, different variation of it. Very similar look to what we've seen a lot, but just a little motion from Tyreek Hill, and it leaves him one-on-one with an edge guy, and then Waddle creates a natural pick, and that's when you see the wheel route being hit. One little wrinkle that has definitely been added to the Dolphins offense since McDaniel's been here, and something you don't really see the Niners ever do either, is this run basically turns into a sweep where he hands it off in shotgun, where he turns around behind him. This has also really helped the play action game because it's worked here, and I'll show an example of that right after this, where he scores a touchdown in this scenario. But this just gets Mostert's ability out on the edge. Also love the alignment. He gets Sherfield aligned pretty tight here, so he can crack back on this D end and allows everyone else to get out into space. Armstead, it gets him this angle to the linebacker here, and you have to read this. Linebackers have to stay patient because they've shown that they run play action out of this, but this really does affect the linebackers when they turn around out of shotgun, and it's just where Tua is more comfortable, and it gets Mostert out on the edge. It's just another little nice run concept they've added to this team this year, and it's just helped the team so much because it's given them a different version of play action out of a shotgun, and it just fits Tua's play style perfectly because it helps with the RPO play action game, and it also showed the run off the behind the back shotgun handoff. This time you get the play action. It looks at all the effect that this has on this defense. Love the play calling too. Just getting everyone flowing to this side, all different levels with good spacing. You know, the deep corner to Gesicki gets 2 defenders here. You get the lower cross with a deeper cross behind it to Waddle. Waddle finds the steep spot. Tua gets to his 3rd read, but just has a great effect on the defense, flowing everyone off to the side of the play action here. And just really sells this, because when you're doing play action in front of you, the linebackers are not as affected as much, and it just takes 57-45 completely out of this play. 53 actually does a pretty good job because it helps take away the first route from Tyreek Hill, but Tua gets to his next read. Great route concept. To this side, you have a whole, like, look at the spacing right here, triangle, all at least, 8 yards apart. So really, really excellent call again from Mike McDaniel, the mad genius. More behind the back play action out of the shotgun, but this time you have him also becoming the swing route, which affects the flat defender just enough and creates basically a one-on-one with Tyreek with a deep 3rd corner. And he's also, got this tight alignment here where he's off the ball. He gets a free release, gets all this space working to the outside. He attacks outside leverage. This swing route right here holds this curl flat defender just enough where he can't get enough depth, and it gives Tua also great, pocket here. His O-line has done a much better job this season, even though, by the numbers, they're still not blocking like super great. It just creates all this room for Tyreek Hill to get, a one-on-one matchup. Beautiful design play again. Watch this linebacker from this motion right here. He gets widened pre-snap, and then you have this guy running a quick little out where he threatens the linebacker. It's just great route concept, great play calling. He gives just enough to the inside. Tua working eyes too, and you have this angle route coming underneath, and it just opens up all this space for Tyreek to sneak behind. It's just beautiful, beautiful route design, concept design by McDaniel, and then obviously the motion. He's just the king of that. Sometimes play calling is just about beating tendencies. A lot of times out of play action, they like to quickly turn around, throw the quick glance to Waddle. So now they have Waddle selling the quick slant, this quick glance route, sinking, running the whip, and he has all this space. This is a 3rd and 2, and you get your chance to do this with your receiver. Obviously, Waddle, Tyreek Hill give you a lot of things that you can do as a play caller, and Mike McDaniel is doing everything he can to, mess up with defenses. He's taking advantage of the situation completely. The horizontal stretches that Mike McDaniel is putting on defense, you got the loop motion from Sherfield here with the play action, plus the, pulling guard to the right, and it just affects the linebackers just enough. Gets this linebacker widened, also to his eyes working it here too. Freezes him, it forces this linebacker to bail because he was reading play action, and just creates all this room over the middle. And with Tua's timing and Waddle's ability, they've just been tearing that apart this year. Mike McDaniel working like a genius again, all this pre-snap work just to manipulate the second level. I would not want to be a linebacker playing against the Dolphins offense. He's done many different things with his pass pro with the O-line this year, allowing these clean pockets. Here, they slide to the right and then bring the guard pulling back to the left. And this just does a great job influencing linebackers as well. It just creates this run type look. The D linemen don't shoot up field as much. They're expecting a run here. They get the play action. And this pulling guard, while also Tua gives a slight roll to the left here, widens this linebacker. So love this call. Use of using your QB in the pocket, his movement, using an O-line, creates this very clean situation for Tua, and then gives him an open lane with that manipulation of the pocket, throwing this back over the middle of the field. And then he sends Hill, Waddle deep. He knows the effect that these two have on the defense, and it just creates this nice little space for Sherfield to work over the middle of the field. Mike shows off some of his game planning ability. This is the first run play of the game. Obviously, you come out, your first 15-ish plays are scripted, and clearly he does the film study because he is running influence trap right at this 3-tech, so he knows from watching the film that this guy's probably going to shoot upfield, and you want to run this trap concept, and just look how much space is created here just because they execute it so perfectly. But the 3-tech just shoots upfield. Armstead throws him by, gets to the next level. He's just off balance here. Hunt was going to take him out anyways, but he just takes himself out of the play, and then just creates all this space, allows great angles for the blockers here. It just makes life easy on the blockers. He has the tight alignment with Gesicki. He gives him a great angle to get out here to the safety. Armstead, a great angle to the linebacker, and then this one very close to being broken, and Mostert makes one guy miss in the secondary. Just a great play call. The run game, he does so many different things well, whether it be trap, zone, all different type of gap scheme runs, and his use of motion, as we'll get to in this video, has been outstanding. Daniel's usage of Alec Ingold this season has just been beautiful, similar to how the Niners use check, but here, using him on power and getting him motioning on this, almost like they do this a lot on split zone. They sometimes having him sifting back. They do a lot of change up, different types of stuff during the play, but here they're just having him motioning across, taking out the unblocked defensive end, and then they're just running power off this. Everyone is down blocking. Hunt, get to the next level. Armstead executes this beautifully as well. It just creates great angles here, because once Armstead helps out Jones, based on the positioning here, he's able to climb, get to the next level, and just creates this clean hole for Jeff Wilson. So just the usage of these motions creates these angles, creates this momentum for Ingold to take the defensive end just out of this play. And then Jeff Wilson just has to make one simple read off his O-lineman right there. Just makes everything really great for everyone around the O-line, the fullbacks, the running backs. It just makes it a much easier job for them. McDaniel using motioning as the window dressing here. A lot of the times, Ingold coming back. This time, they use him getting out on the edge, and he gets the cutoff on the linebacker. So instead of coming back, working like a split zone type look, they have Tua freeze Clowney just enough, giving him the RPO that he might pull this, freezes him just enough. Garrett shoots up field with the motion, and then you get all these lead blocks coming out the edge. Angled, peeks back, sees 51, takes him out of the play, and it just helps maximize yardage. And then if you wanted to get to the outside with the motioning, he had Trent Sherfield working as a lead even deeper to the outside. But since Garrett shot up field, he works it back to the inside. Just all the different ways that he's using motioning. Angled, instead of cutting it back, he just gives so many different variations, so many different looks. They look the same pre-snap, and then post-snap, everything is just completely different, and it puts defensive players in a very, very tough situation. More great work from McDaniel in the running game. The Tyreek motion across, the split zone. You have Sherfield in the tight alignment, so he gets like the little crackback block. Doesn't try to destroy him on the linebacker right there because you get a penalty for that. Just cuts him off. Tyreek widens 54 to give Sherfield this angle. So just great work by McDaniel. And then you get the one-on-one with Angled and the edge. All he has to do is cut him off. The defensive line overflows. Jeff Wilson finds the cutback, gets a one-on-one with 42 in the hole, and he just makes him miss. Gets to the edge. Tyreek Hill waving him to the end zone. Great work from McDaniel with motioning pre-snap alignment to create extra great angles for these linemen, for the running back, for the receivers, to blocking everything. Angles, leverage is so important to winning football games. All the pre-snap movement, not even motion here, just resetting, getting Ingold in the backfield, moving Durham Smythe off to the other side, and this time, instead of bending Ingold back, which a lot of times they do this outside zone. Ingold takes his first step and then bends this back, he sifts this, but this time they bring the split zone tight end back here. They overflow, you get the safety to overcommit back to the tight end, and it just creates this huge hole. Great vision by Jeff Wilson to see it, but it wasn't really that hard to see. Just all great play calling, great setup to manipulate the defense. You show a lot of things on tape. You do little different variations that have different looks, and it just creates big opportunities for the players. I was talking about with the outside zone with the lead blocker. This time he has Ingold bending this back like he was showing this earlier in the film study, becoming the sift blocker, blocking the end man of the line of scrimmage back here. They leave him unblocked. He hard commits down the line of scrimmage. Ingold takes him out. Plus, while he gets his block here, this also has a huge effect on linebackers because they see this and they think he's going to follow his guy back here, work a counter, and they just freeze up. 34 just basically stops where he's going, stops getting into his gap just to, get reached by Eichenberg here. He just basically goes into Eichenberg, and then it gives Mostert a huge hole to explode through. So not only does allow Ingold to get a great angle for his block, it also, messes up the eyes of the linebackers and creates all that space. Just another beautiful designed run concept from McDaniel there. You can tell this Jalen Waddle touchdown was really designed, to give all this space for him. Because look at the receivers on the side of the field. You get Tyreek Hill in the backfield, Trent Sherfield. He sits his route right at the goal line, but leaves this space back here. Tyreek Hill is straight into the flat, but leaves all this space. Usually, a lot of times you'll see them run this like a corner over here. They'll take away all this space, but they have the, long deep crosser coming from Waddle from the other side of the field. And when you have Waddle picking up that much speed working from this, you just got to give Tua some time here, which they do. This eyes here stops Hutchinson trying to, maybe get his hands up, make a play on the quick flat route to Tyreek. That's what putting him in the backfield does. You have to, pay attention to him. You get multiple people working on a 3-on-2 over here, and just creates all the space for Jalen Waddle. Just another great play design down in the red zone, and that's where it matters the most. It's another favorite concept from McDaniel where they get Hill or Waddle motioning to his side and just gets him build all this momentum, and then they have, two guys running either, maybe a deep cross, deep post. Sometimes they'll sit in this deep zone, just many different variations. Right there, you just create all this space. They faced a lot of cover 4, cover 6 looks, and this is a great, concept to defeat that. The safety, have to commit, and this just creates all this space for Hill. You could give Tyreek Hill this much momentum to, run his route here. You have him all this space. Defensive backs are forced to open those hips early, and this has just been something that the Dolphins ran a ton at the start of the season, and then lately those motions have kind of, transferred into that RPO look, the play that they really like to run, because sometimes it looks very similar, and then this time they're running it just, out of, under center, and it just creates all that space for Tyreek Hill. It's just not fair at all for defenses. Everything pre-snap and early post-snap is showing that this is going to be a play going this way, and it just brings back, opens up this big, hole over the middle of the field for Waddle. You get the motion from Ingold, you get the pull from Eichenberg, you get this clean pocket, and then you get everyone sneaking out back to this way. You have the inside number 2 receiver running a deep post, which clears out all this space for Waddle here, and he's so fast, he forces the DBs to open those hips very quickly. It's not fair when you have these weapons to work with, and just the geniusness of Mike McDaniel, everything that he is showing here. It's just all window dressing. You even get, Tua to open up his first steps back. His eyes go this way too, and then you get him to reset, come back to this, and it's just wide open. No one is within 15 yards of Waddle. That is just a beautiful, beautiful design. It's one of the first plays of the season, play number 8 or something like that, and this is one of the first times I felt really confident in Mike McDaniel's play calling and how he was going to use Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. When very similar concept to what I showed earlier, getting Hill on the motion, all this momentum, then you have him and Waddle on this side of the field. Also the play action, making these guys not shoot upfield, giving him this clean pocket. And you give Tua this amount of time, he's never, at this point, it's his first week, he hasn't experienced anything like this in his 2 years. And it just creates, man-to-man with Tyreek Hill. A lot of times he's broken this in later in the season, break your tendencies. This time he breaks for the deep comeback route, and you just can't cover that. Tyreek Hill in cover 1 like that, you get a one-on-one matchup, working the pre-snap motion. Just another work of genius by Mike McDaniel. I had such confidence in him after even watching week 1. I knew what his play calling abilities, what he was capable of, and then it's just maximized to it. It's made it. This offense has been by far one of the most fun offenses I've ever watched. Definitely the most fun Dolphins offense I've watched in my time, and it's just been probably the most fun season in a very long time. So if you guys enjoyed this video, probably going to drop a Tua video later in the week disproving all the, Tua narratives that I've heard throughout the years, especially throughout, this year with the yak and all that kind of stuff, throwing to wide open receivers all game, fake processing. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.